This is just one of our stops for our virtual homeschool day. And in this stop, we are going to be talking about the women who are part of the founding of St. Louis and early St. Louis life. St. Louis as the city we know today was founded in 1764 by Pierre Laclede and Auguste Chouteau. They came up from New Orleans to establish a trading post, among other things, for the French government. They picked this area for its good central location, and it was the confluence of where the Mississippi and Missouri River meet. It took many people to help found and grow the new city of St. Louis, including many women. And I am going to share with you 3 women from early St. Louis. Marie-Thérèse Bourgeois-Chouteau, nicknamed the founding mother of St. Louis, and was the first European woman to settle here. She came up with her son, Auguste Chouteau, and her informal lover, Pierre Laclede, when they came to St. Louis to found it as a trading post. She ran the household and played an important role in the founding of the city. At this time, St. Louis didn't have a business district or many shops, so people ran businesses out of their homes. Marie Chouteau helped run their fur trading business out of their home and hosted important people who came to visit. She played a key role in growing the Chouteau family's power and wealth. However, it is important to mention that, like many wealthy people at this time, the Chouteau family enslaved several individuals, including several Native Americans, even after enslaving Native Americans was deemed illegal by Spanish rule. I just told you a little bit about the story of Marie Chouteau, and one of the ways we share information and tell stories in the museum is through artifacts or objects. I am going to share with you several artifacts, and it will be your task to pick which artifact you would put in the exhibit to help tell Marie Chouteau's story. You can also go to our collection search at our website and pick your own object that you would use. Now, I do want to note that not all of these artifacts may have belonged to this exact person, but represent something they would have used or seen during their lifetime, and it would also help represent their story. So if you do a collection search, you may not find something that belonged to your exact person, but would still be a great way to help tell their story. Our first object is a portrait of Madame Marie Chouteau. You can see here she is wearing a Creole-style head wrap. She was originally living in New Orleans and moved up here with her family to settle in St. Louis. A lot of early St. Louis life and culture was influenced by Creole and New Orleans culture. Another object you could pick is this piece of dress owned by Marie Chouteau. This dress was passed down through her family. As a prominent person in gaining much wealth through the fur trade and other business ventures, Marie Chouteau would have had access to finer and luxury items. Finally, this object is the Chouteau family tree, created in 1900, which was about 130 years after she arrived. On the base of the tree, you can see Marie Chouteau and her 2 partners. Branching off of the base is all of her descendants, which you can see has grown a lot since she settled here in St. Louis. So I want you to pause now and discuss which artifact you would want to pick to tell Marie Chouteau's story. You can pick from these 3 or search our collection and pick your own. Think about why you chose the artifact you did. How does this artifact help tell her story? And what parts of the story might it not tell, or that people still might have questions about? Go ahead and pause now and discuss. Another woman featured in this exhibit is Esther. Esther was enslaved by a St. Louis businessman after the original people who enslaved her gave her to him to help pay their debts. She quickly became close to him and turned into his business advisor and managed his home, property, and the other people he enslaved. This even included Esther making the orchards and farms profitable and handling contract negotiations when he was away. Later, he freed her and made her his business manager. This is also when he started to become increasingly abusive to Esther, which caused her to leave him, even though she still worked with him. However, in an effort to hide his assets from debt collectors, he later signed his property over to Esther as payment for her work. When land prices after the Louisiana Purchase started to rise, he later tried to sell the property under her name, but the court said he could not sell the property and that he didn't have enough evidence to prove that it was his. Esther and him soon entered a legal battle that would last their entire lives, but Esther managed to hold on to her freedom and a large portion of the property, including an entire city block, 2 other city lots with houses, and approximately 100 acres of valuable farmland. Just like before, we are going to look at various artifacts, and it'll be up to you to pick one to tell her story. You can pick from the artifacts I show you, or go to the collections and find your own. One artifact you can choose is this map. This is a land survey which shows where Esther's land was located. You may recognize the Mississippi River down at the bottom. Here's the deed to the property that lists Esther as the owner. A deed is a document that shows who a piece of property belongs to. This is a document called the Livre Terrien, an official government document from early St. Louis that recorded French land records. This shows the 2-page entry on Esther and her land. All right, pause now and discuss which artifact you would want to pick to tell Esther's story. You can pick from these 3 or search our collections and pick your own. Think about why you chose the artifact you did. How does that artifact tell her story? And what parts of the story might it not tell, or that people still might have questions about? So go ahead, pause now, and discuss. Before Europeans arrived, St. Louis was home to many different Native American tribes. When European fur traders arrived, they often intermarried with Native Americans. Francoise Leduc was the daughter of a French-Canadian trader and an Osage woman. She was later married to a man who was also of mixed ancestry. He was French and Kaw. They owned property together in St. Louis, and when they sold it, they both had to agree to the sale. This would have not happened under American law at the time, as women weren't allowed to own property. Leduc lived in St. Louis for all of her life and maintained strong ties to the Osage tribe. By the time of her death, she was a great-grandmother, and her descendants, to this day, are enrolled as Osage tribal citizens and are engaged in Osage cultural preservation efforts. Just like before, we are going to look at various artifacts, and it'll be up to you to pick one to tell her story. You can pick from the ones I'm about to present, or use the collection search to find your own. Many women, and especially Osage women, played a huge role in helping with the fur trade by working to prepare the hides. This is a tool that would have been used to remove the flesh from the hide. While we can't be sure if Leduc used this tool or not, she certainly would have seen people using it in early St. Louis. This is a French colonial-style home in early St. Louis. Leduc owned a home with her partner in colonial St. Louis. And again, while we can't be sure if she would have owned a house that looked like this, as we don't have a lot of records from this time, she very well could have had a house that looked like this, or seen houses that looked like this, as many houses in early St. Louis would have been this style. Finally, we have this portrait of a Native American woman done by Anna Maria von Pfuhl. We don't know of the name of this woman in the portrait, but this is how some women dressed or might have looked in early St. Louis. There's a very good chance that Leduc could have dressed like this, or would have seen women who dressed like this on a daily basis. Pause now and discuss which artifact you want to pick, or take this opportunity to look up your own artifact to tell her story. Think about why you chose the artifact you did. How does this artifact tell her story? And what parts of the story might it not tell, or that people still might have questions about? Go ahead and pause now. Thank you so much for learning with me about these founding St. Louis women. Check out the other gallery stops talking about women entrepreneurs and innovators and women activists, as well as our other homeschool day activities and crafts. Share with us any thoughts or questions you may have by tagging us on social media and using the hashtag MHSLearn. And remember, keep making history.